Because if you get the timing of the test right, like that, that is 90% of it, right? And then we're learning content to reinforce it. But like when we are in sessions together, I'm constantly asking, did you go over? How much time did you have left? How can we use our time more efficiently? I'm going to time you. Oh, I'm not going to time you. I'm just going to stopwatch you. I'm obsessed with it, and this is why. If you don't have timing splits that I told you specifically, then this is what I think you should do. Because basically the idea here is you want to get as many points as you can before time runs out. And in order to do that, you need to be exposed to all the questions you can do. Because if there's 3 easy questions at the back of the test and you never see them, you'll never get the points. So you have to go fast enough to see every question, but slow enough to have time to do all of them. So here's the basic setup that I recommend. You might be thinking to yourself, how am I going to time myself for 12 and a half minutes on a passage? That's because you should bring a watch. You can look at the clock too, that's fine. The proctor only tells you when a certain amount of time is left. That's like what we do when we do practice. I say, oh, 2 minutes left or half your time left, right? That's what the proctor does, which is why I do it that way. You can look at the clock too. I think that's fine. Sometimes the clocks don't work, right? It's just at any random high school near you. Think about how many rooms that you have class in where the clock doesn't work. Like, you can't count on that. So if you have a watch you can bring, borrow one from a parent, from a sibling, from a friend, I think it's a good idea. So if your splits aren't dialed in yet, like some of you are practicing with like very strict time limits per passage, if you're practicing that, you've internalized it, that's fine. But if you don't feel like you're 100% can time yourself in your head, just try this. All right, so reading 12 and a half minutes per passage, that will give you 1 minute left over at the end. So you have some wiggle room. 8.5 minutes on the writing and language, that also gives you 1 minute at the end. So you have some wiggle room. Depending on your proctor, some of them are really strict about pencils down. Like, you'll get in trouble. They won't cancel your score, but they'll be like, hey, you put your pencil down. So that's why we build in the wiggle room. The math ones are a little bit more complicated. Basically, you're taking 20 minutes to do all the easy questions. So I'm assuming that you're going to leave the hard questions, so 11 through 15 on the first one and 21 through 30 on the last one. I'm assuming you're going to leave those for last anyway. And then you're also going to skip some other hard questions. So you're taking 20 minutes to do the easy questions and 10 minutes to do just a few hard questions. And the basic idea there is it takes you less than a minute to do an easy question and a little bit less than 2 minutes to do a hard question. So that's the way that the math works out. The math splits are kind of an art more than they are a science. So if tomorrow will be the first time you're doing splits, especially the first time you're doing math splits, don't take it too seriously. Just make sure that you have like around 10 minutes and then around 20 minutes to go back and review your hard questions. That's really the important thing. And maybe I even should have like bulleted or highlighted that on my new slides. I had it on the old ones and I forgot. You're reserving 10 minutes to do the hard questions, so the last 5 plus any you skipped, and then you're reserving 20 minutes to do the hard questions on the second part. So the last 10 plus any that you skipped. For those of you with extra time, I have the corrected time underneath. If you have double time, then just double that.